I'm Eileen O'Hara. I'm a Reiki practitioner, a light and energy worker, and a citizen of Earth. I'm also
the queen of rock and roll, Melody Trouble Vixen MTV!
A notorious bad guy from My life is anything but dull. I've had a lot of adventures, and like everyone else, I'm struggling to get through these strange times. So I'm challenging you to become your own best friend. Like any relationship, it takes work. So let's step into the ring and have some fun. This is Wrestling with Your Best Friend. Thank you for joining us today as we take on the topic of standing up for ourselves. Sounds pretty straightforward, right? Well, I faced a lot of opponents in the ring, but outside the ring, I avoided conflict. I would go along to get along. You see, I'm a polite person by nature, and I expect others to be polite to me. Now, just because I'm expecting people to be polite doesn't mean they're gonna be. Often, when people behaved badly toward me, I was shocked that adults would behave this way, and I didn't know what to say. I had to learn how to stand up for myself. I had to work on how to appropriately assert myself and not respond in anger, especially when confronting a bully. It takes practice, and I've made my share of mistakes. But when we are self-confident, genuine, and respectful, others tend to realize that disrespect is not an option. The important thing is, when your boundaries are violated, stand up. My guest today is someone I love dearly. I've known her for over 30 years. She's been a part of my life ever since we started training to be Glow Wrestlers. Please welcome Sandy Grimlina Manley. Welcome to Wrestling with Your Best Friend.
As long as you hug each other after the end of the match, that's a good thing.
That's right. You and your best friend? Well, you know, we're talking metaphorically. Your best friend is yourself. And it's called that because, you know, the things that we're talking about, I wrestle with all the time. And today's topic is standing up for yourself, which requires a good, healthy knowledge of self-esteem and good, healthy boundaries. So I learned that boundaries are from our value system, that we learn it from childhood. So if you're not aware of things like you have a right to say no, you have a right to be alone when you want, you know, some people had big families where, you know, they had no privacy, and some people were only child where they had all the privacy. So I know you have a lot of experience with standing up for yourself because of your physical height. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I was diagnosed at age 14 with something called Turner's syndrome or gonadal dysgenesis. Basically put a piece of the female chromosome, the YX, or I forget, which is a piece of the female chromosome, when I was percolating and coming into being, either broke off or didn't form fully. Now, Turner syndrome is unique in the fact, and here's where I started learning how to stand up for myself. 1 in 2,000 are born with it live. And I had a lot of things. I was adopted at birth by my grandparents. I was raised with 2 much older brothers. I think what started my journey of standing up for myself was having 2 older brothers. I learned how to torture them just like they tortured me, or thought they were torturing me. And
give as good as you get.
Oh, they didn't know how devious I was. It's like waiting for them to break curfew and making them make me a sandwich at 1 o'clock in the morning, or threatening to wake mom and dad up.
Yeah.
Telling mom and dad they had a girlfriend in the room with the door shut. I basically, you know, I had a good base. And my dad told me, and God love him, this is the best piece of advice I've gotten, and I'd give anybody. When I would get bullied, or I would cry. Mom was, well, what did you do to upset him? Because when I was hired for Glow, I was hired because I could push buttons.
Yes.
Matt hired me for that purpose. I could push those buttons.
Well, that's what got you the part, was pushing buttons.
My dad looked at me one day and he said, you know what? Just remember this. Never be less than everything. And that resonated. Obviously, I was smaller than the rest of the class all through school. I've had glasses since I was 8 years old, 4 eyes. I was a mixture of tomboy and prissy princess.
I've never known you as a prissy princess. When was that phase?
Well, my mom tried to make me a princess.
Okay.
Sending me to school with the dresses and the little white ankle socks and the Mary Janes and the perfect, curls and hair, and you be a little lady and the manners and all that. Dad was like, you're the best son I ever had. And I'm like, you got 2 boys. So school was, I don't know if you're familiar, if the fans are familiar with the movie that Steve Martin was in called Roxanne.
Oh, yes.
Where he had the big nose.
Yes.
Do you remember the scene in the bar where he just says, is that the best you got? And he starts rattling off the big nose jokes.
Yes.
That was me. Really? Midget, dwarf, munchkin, smurf, mighty mouse. You got anything better? Shortcake, half pint. You're not very unique. And one guy in school, this was 2nd grade, he grabbed me by my chin and yanked my head back and forth violently and going, hey, witchy poo. And I'm sitting here going, what did I do to you? And the same guy poured yellow paint on a pink dress. Like I said, I was raised to be a priss. There were days that I would come home and I would be upset and I would cry. I never understood, why am I different? A doctor noticed certain things about my physical development and certain physical aspects that aren't noticed to the untrained eye. My fingernails are shaped a little different. My hairlines are shaped a little different. I am shorter than normal. I went for testing, and for a 14-year-old to spend 5 days in the hospital, having every test known to man, was traumatic. And I thank the doctor for this, because once he did this, it was like Elsa in Frozen. It was like, here I am. He said, I got to be blunt. If I get you to 5 feet tall, we'll be lucky. He said, 2, you'll never be able to have children. I said, well, I was adopted. That's not a problem. If I want, I can adopt. So after that, and I read the notes, you could see the progression and the way I just started coming into my own. It was like, if I want to read ghost stories, I'll read ghost stories. If I want to study true crime, I'll study true crime. If I want to go to a wrestling match, damn it, I'm going to go to a wrestling match.
So that diagnosis, did that give you more confidence? What did that do for you?
It was an answer. All my life, I was like, why am I different? Why am I not like all the other kids I hang out with? Why am I not like my cousins? I kept asking myself, why? And to have that answer was just like, okay, you have an answer. This is what you're given. Run with it. I had a choice. I could either do radical injections or I could do hormone replacement therapy. And I started when I was 14. And when I hit Glow, I was 4'9" and 105 pounds. And at that point, that was it. It's like the doctor said, if that piece of chromosome had developed fully, I'd be your height, Eileen. I'd be 5'6".
I'm not 5'6". I'm 5'2".
I thought you were taller. Well, everybody's taller than me.
And almost everyone's taller than me.
It was sort of like that realization, this is who I am. Why do I have to hide and not feel what I feel? I'm no better or no worse than anyone else. I am what I am.
Well, and I love that moment where we get to understand, oh, okay, this is who I am. Yes, I'm different. I mean, I've had that moment too, when I admitted to myself that I am a light and energy worker, that I have spiritual gifts, that I see and hear things other people don't. When you realize that this is who you are.
You know what? That's what I say. And I say, thank you to the bullies. It made me want to learn. It made me want to expand every horizon. I am a geek and proud of it.
When did you first become aware that your height was different?
I learned how to climb at an early age to get what I wanted. I couldn't reach.
Yeah.
So I'm the one who pulls out the drawers and climbs up into the cabinets and
Oh
stuff.
my.
Yeah, and I gave my mom some heart attacks. I would go where no child should go. And, it's like, okay, line up in order of shortest to tallest. You remember that in elementary school. Okay, we're putting you in the front desk because you're too small to see from the back. Stuff like that.
So it was pretty much when you started school.
And the sad thing is, unfortunately for me and anyone that had that vertical challenge, Randy Newman came out with that disgusting song when I was in elementary school, going into junior high. That was just a whole new wave of bullying.
I think he was being facetious, though. I thought at the time, because I couldn't believe that anyone would put something like that. Wasn't that for a movie?
It wasn't. It never made a movie. The only thing that redeemed him in my eyes was when he did Toy Story. You Got a Friend in Me. That redeemed him just this much. But no.
I thought that song wasn't that song for the movie Nasty People or something like that. I thought it was a parody. Because I couldn't believe that was on purpose and taken literally.
I had no choice but to take it literally. You know how a pack of hyenas or a pack of animals will try to pick on what they think is a weakness?
Chickens. That's why they call it a pecking order. Chickens will peck to death
the minute that song hit, it was like, open the door and just let it fly. And I'm sitting here going, really? I've been shoved in a locker. People don't believe this. I've only been in 3 real fights my entire life, and I won all 3 of them.
Okay, how did you do that?
Well, bully comes up to me in high school. I'm going to kick your butt. I'm going to beat you, you little nothing. Okay. Put my glasses off, put them in my purse. Take the first punch. What do you mean, take the first punch? Take the first punch. If I take the first punch, I'm going to kill you. If you take the first punch, ask yourself this: what's going to happen when she gets up? Oh, you crazy. I said, am I? I said, what is the school rule when it comes to fighting? The person who throws the first punch is the person expelled. I guarantee you, if you throw the first punch, I'll be here tomorrow. You won't. Stop the bullying.
Smart.
The other fights, it's just lower center of gravity. I would hunker down and I would go for the midsection. And the minute they bent over, then it would be like boom to the face. And yes, it was a sucker punch. Okay.
But no, lower center of gravity. What's in front of you? Yeah.
Yeah, and I've even intimidated WWE wrestlers.
Oh wow!
Sid Vicious and Ric Flair were in a bar, and I was chatting, and Sid patted me on top of the head. He goes, Rick, she's the right height.
Oh,
and just kept patting me on top of the head, and I just lifted my fist, not even having to raise my arm. And Rick looked down, and Rick looked at Sid, and he goes, "Boy, you better back up. Look at her hand. Look at where she's aiming.
Yeah.
You're going to feel some pain.
Yeah.
You better back it up."
That was good advice.
My whole point is, why do we have to do this?
I'm always taken aback when grown adults, act like this. I learned that this behavior that comes from our childhood, we don't understand that we have right. Boundaries are a basic human right. We have the right to be treated with respect. We have the right to be left alone to do what we need to do. We have the right to shop without someone harassing us, without someone shoving us, without someone telling us, "Oh, you can't sit at this table because you're not good enough." But we have the right. It's a basic human right to be respected. Now I will handle things differently than because when you're shocked and you're going, what? My first reaction would be to react in anger, which I did a couple times. When I first stood up to a bully, I'm not happy the way I did it because, this person had pushed me around, literally shoved me out of the way and humiliated me for years. And I just took it, just thinking that I had to because of whatever. I don't know. I didn't have enough self-esteem. But when I finally was made angry and said enough, this bully will never push me around again. I have the right to be here. I have the right to be respected and not have to react in anger, because reacting in anger is probably not the best way for me to react.
I've learned that, though, unfortunately, with social media, and this is what breaks my heart about children today. When I hear these stories about these kids who harm themselves, kill themselves because they're being bullied, kids, don't do it.
No.
It's not worth it.
Well, because you have the right to be respected. And you have the right to stand up for being respected. And this is what I'm talking about, how it's learned values. It all depends on how you were raised, where you were raised, if you were raised in a big, loud, noisy family, if you were raised as an only child, if your culture maybe has some norms about, values and how you should be treated. And I'm not saying anyone's is better than anyone else's. It's just, that's where we get our basic value system from, is how we're treated as children. And if you're taught that you don't ever have a right to say no, or you don't ever have a right to privacy, or you don't ever have a right to stand up for yourself, then that's what you carry forward into adulthood. And that's where we have to understand that, okay, let me reassess this. I have a right to be respected. I have a right to say no. I have a right to take time for myself. I have a right to, if I don't want to be touched, don't touch me. If I don't want to be disturbed right now, I have a right to not be disturbed. I have a right to tell people at work how I want to be treated at work. It doesn't mean they're always going to get that, but you have that right. And I mean, hey, I just learned that this week.
It's
we learn when we learn.
I worked for 14 years in a very secure government position with the state. And unfortunately, I worked with a narcissist.
Yeah.
She was stereotypical Virginia Tech grad soccer mom. And here I am. And I mean, it got to the point of, well, I don't know why you go to these events to see these girls. You trying to relive your past?
Well, that was
No.
mean.
Me?
That was mean.
I'm like, they're my friends. Do you have any?
Yeah. We love you. I love you. And I would hate not seeing you,
I know. I mean, you clean out a drawer for me anytime. I sleep better than anywhere. But that's beside the point. It's like when we were honored at Cauliflower Alley.
Yes.
And to me, that was a highlight of my life, because while I was up on that stage, I kept hearing that song in my mind and thinking about the people who always put me down, told me what I couldn't do. I heard the Toby Keith song, "How Do You Like Me Now?"
Yeah.
And remember when I did the speech, and it's the best picture and should be a meme, I'm standing at the podium and all you see is this.
That's right. Just your nose.
And my first words for my acceptance speech were, "Yes, I am standing. Yes, I am short. Deal with it." That's just it.
You made everybody laugh. Yeah.
But that's it.
Yeah.
This is, I can't make myself taller. I can't make myself younger.
But you don't need to.
I'm who I am. And
yes.
I love who I am. And it took a while to get to that point. I actually am comfortable in the skin I'm in.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times have you had to say, "Grimmy, put on makeup"? And I'm like, but this is me.
No, I made you put on makeup and get all dolled up for the
I'm like, but
award.
This is me.
I'm like, darling, they're throwing a banquet and we're being awarded and honored. You're gonna put on makeup and we're gonna do your hair and you're gonna wear a dress.
You do that every time we get together, though. NostalgiaCon, you're putting on makeup. Filming FemD Action, you're putting on makeup. Oh, and FemD Action, we tag teamed a bully. We tag teamed a bully.
Well, I didn't like how she was treating me or how she was treating you, and it also worked for the show. And that was the main thing. You were wonderful, and I loved your look for that. You looked awesome. You were the little Grimmy goth doll.
Yeah. And and the pièce de la résistance of that whole thing was the look on that bully's face as I sauntered away
Well, she had
after
no
putting her in
idea
place.
she was being tag teamed by two glow girls.
Yeah, don't mess with glow bad girls.
Yeah, well, I didn't like the way she was, because when she was deriding you, she meant it.
When she called me a disgusting little creature, I'm like, oh, really?
Let's bring out the disgusting little creature.
And I looked at you and said, Eileen.
Yeah. It's time for the disgusting little creature to do her shtick on camera.
I think the time throughout my life when I was bullied gave me what made Gremlina so unique, even though I hated it. You know, how many times did I cry when I had to be mean to Daisy?
Really?
I did. You didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that.
I would cry. I'm like, I can't do this to you, because I knew what bullying was.
Yes.
But that was what Gremlina was. So I sort of channeled all the bullies in my life and became that nasty little creature that everybody loves.
Well, I can see why
Go
that
figure.
would hurt you, because it was pain coming out of you, the pain that was bullied into you, and it's coming out now, and you're feeling it again. Only this time you're delivering it. And I know what you mean, because MTV is almost completely opposite. I share a few characteristics. We're both very bold, and we both like to be, entertained. But that's where it ends, because she's a brat, she's a cheat, she's a liar, she interferes with people, she'll pull all kinds of shenanigans, and she says the meanest things to people, like a bad guy, a good heel does. And I enjoyed playing it because it was just that. I mean, MTV could do and say and be things that Eileen can't. Eileen wouldn't even think of saying that to somebody, but MTV will just, rip it off in a rap.
When I knew I was leaving and I talked to Steve, the one thing I always felt like is when I was bullied is I felt like I was trash. And I told Steve, I said, if I'm going out, I want to be remembered. What if I'm tossed in a garbage can? I have been tearing her down, trashing her, treating her like garbage. I need to be in the garbage. And that's when it ended. Is Sandy like Gremlina? I am mischievous. I don't mind a good prank. I don't want to hurt anybody.
No.
But, I do have that little mischievous. And God knows, technologically, I'm a gremlin.
You're one of the kindest people I know, and you're one of the smartest people I know, and you were a very genuine person. You're not pretentious, and you're not trying to be anything. You're just yourself, and I love that about you, and you have a beautiful soul. What advice do you have for someone who is being beset by a bully right now? And maybe it's their boss, maybe it's their parent, maybe it's their sibling. What's the best advice you could give them?
Pick your battles. If it's inconsequential, meaningless, or trivial, shrug it off. And bottom line, haters are going to hate no matter what you do, but don't be a wimp. The main basic thing people need to remember about a bully is they are a coward.
Okay, so explain that, though. I mean, I've heard this all my life, a bully is a coward, but what does that translate to?
Because 99% of the time, if you stand up and don't back down from a bully, they will back down, and that will be the end of it.
Well, thank you so much for being on Wrestling with Your Best Friend.
We miss you.
Well, hopefully the next time CAC happens, we'll be able to, you'll be able to come here and hang out with me for a little bit.
Keep a drawer open.
Absolutely. Love you, baby.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.
Our friend Sandy just beautifully illustrated that when it comes to being put in situations that you find are too personal or too intrusive, you don't have to participate. You can say things like, this doesn't feel right to me, or I'm asking you to respect my boundaries. Standing up for yourself is having confidence in the authenticity of your feelings and understanding your worth. So stand up and speak up when it matters. I think you'll find it's a little easier each time you do. It's time for the wrap up. You know what that means. Stand up when somebody knocks you down. Stand up, don't let that anger hang around. Stand up, that bully's just a nasty clown. Stand up, stand up, stand up. Stand up, you're stronger than you understand. Stand up, so give yourself a helping hand. Stand up, get on up and make that stand. Stand up, stand up, stand up. Stand up! Woo! That's our show for today. Thank you for the gift of your time. If you like what you heard, please hit those like and subscribe buttons. I want to remind everyone that the opinions expressed on today's show belong entirely to those expressing them. You can email your opinions to melodytroublevixen@outlook.com or leave comments here on the YouTube channel, Melody Trouble Vixen. Until next time, keep
Wrestling with your best friend.